Learning how to write a good research assignment or paper is a vital skill post-matric. But if you're in high school now, it's a good idea to start getting into the idea of how to do it well. And what I'm going to introduce you to in this video is not how to lay it out in terms of format. Instead, I'm going to introduce you to what should be in it and how your argument or your research should be structured. Before I go into that, let me get some credentials out of the way. Since 2014, I have edited a ton of research assignments and dissertations at master's and PhD level. I'm on the editor panels of Stellenbosch University Business School, Nelson Mandela Metro, University of Namibia, University of the Witwatersrand, UK-based University of Leicestershire, try to get that word out of my mouth, and I'm on the panels of some private MBA colleges like Mancosa and Henley. I also headed up for a period Fort Hare's editors panel in their PhD department, and I've edited for prestigious journals such as the UK-based Journal of Microbiology and the South African Journal of Economic and Management Sciences. I've dealt with hundreds of students, lecturers, course supervisors, and so I therefore know very well what they are looking for in a research assignment. And it's a sad state of affairs that format matters as much as it does. In a perfect world, your content should speak louder than your layout, but this sadly is not really the case. I've had a lot come past me with a very simple request. My lecturer says my format is wrong, please help. Although I'm going to deal with the structure and the content of a research assignment in this video, and not so much on the layout and the formats, I am, however, going to take this one step further and give you something valuable. Below, in the description, is a link to a very comprehensive Word document, a Word template that I'm going to give you that you can drop your work into. It is 22 pages long. It covers all of the elements that I'm going to discuss in this video. If you wish, go ahead, pause the video now, download the template, and then come back to the video so that you can follow along on paper should that be a useful thing for you to do. Now, the structure that I'm going to use, that I'm going to discuss in this video, is the Harvard format. I find this to be the most elegant in my opinion, and the document that I have that I'm giving to you is modeled on the Stellenbosch University Business School template, so you know that it's good, okay? There are other formats, of course, and your lecturer may require that you use, for example, MLA or the APA 7th edition or any of the others. APA and Harvard are the most widely used, so I will focus on that. Just because I'm going to be using the Harvard method does not make the information in this video any less valuable, okay? Remember that what I'm discussing is your content and your structure in this video and not your formatting. For formatting, use the free template that I'm giving you, and for other formats, drop me a mail and just ask. I'm fluent and up to date on most of the formats that are used in academia today. Now, your research assignment is going to consist of a number of different areas and chapters. These include your title pages, the introduction, a literature review, your research methodology, your findings, and a conclusion and summary. Following these will be your references and your appendices, should you choose to include any in the research paper. Now, this may sound like a lot, but it's really not, okay? As long as you methodically set it out in the way that I'm going to describe, you will not only be fine, but you will thrive, okay? Just remember that old joke. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And while we're talking about one bite at a time, I'm now going to describe the most important features in each of these sections, what you need to be aware of, and what your lecturer, course supervisor, or even teacher is going to be looking for. If you're in high school, this format is going to blow the socks right off your teachers without even having to bring them an apple. Your title pages are best described by looking at the document, at the template itself. But it consists of your title page, a declaration, your acknowledgements, a list of contents, list of tables and figures, a list of acronyms and abbreviations, and most importantly, your abstract. The abstract is like an executive summary if you're doing business studies at school. It is a section that you will write last. The abstract is a summary of the research assignment, and it will summarize the intent of your research, the questions that you wish to answer by virtue of your research, what method you employed in your research, and what your broad findings were, including anything that you might have found surprising. Don't exceed 500 words, and again, the format and any other requirements are in the Word template. Chapter 1 is your introduction. Here you're going to state your problem statement and your problem objectives. In other words, what problem has led you to this research in the first place? What questions are you asking? And what you wish to answer by virtue of your assignment. Think of your research questions as being those questions that you will be answering by the end of the assignment, at the end of the assignment. And in this chapter, you will also state why your research is important, and you will provide a chapter outline for the rest of the paper. So in effect, it truly is just an introduction. Chapter 2 is your literature review. And here you will review, and I stress review, not rewrite or explain, the literature available that pertains to your study or to your research that you are addressing. This is a lot of field work, okay? It is a lot. And it will involve a lot of research. Here you are going to be reading articles, past research papers, journal publications, books, and so on and so forth. But whatever you do, and here's a tip, don't use Wikipedia, okay? I can assure you that it's not recommended as a valid source of information. If you have found something useful in Wikipedia that you do want to use, then rather look for the original source of the information and don't cite the original Wikipedia page as your source. You're not going to make any friends by doing that. What the literature review does is it indicates to your lecturer or your course supervisor or your teacher that you have researched your paper and that you have, as much as possible, covered as much ground as you are able in the topic that you have chosen. You're going to see what others have had to say, and you're going to summarize their viewpoints, their data, their opinions. You're doing this to provide a landscape of the subject, okay? A detailed overview on which to add your own research onto. If you don't discuss what research has already been done, then how can we be sure that your research has, one, been in line with the subject at hand, or two, is valuable enough to be added to the body of literature and contribute to the knowledge that is already out there? Now, chapter 3 is your research methodology. Take note, this is not your research findings, not yet. It is the methodology. This chapter outlines what you did, the research you conducted to arrive at your research findings. It's often the shortest of the chapters, and it says in effect, this is how I went about it. I used interviews, a detailed questionnaire, laboratory work, and so on and so forth. You will describe here, for example, the sample and the population that you use. In other words, a set of people or companies or whatever that you studied to arrive at your conclusions. It will include the design and the thinking that went behind your questionnaire if you're choosing to use one. It will describe the method that you used and the analysis that you used for your data. Remember, you're not discussing the findings of your research, not yet. It outlines rather how you went about it, what methods you used. Your course supervisor is going to be looking to see that you have done the necessary groundwork. Chapter 4 outlines your findings. And this is often the longest chapter that you're going to have to deal with. But remember, one bite at a time will get you there. This is going to show the steps that your data processing took to arrive at your findings. Important things to remember here is to lay out the work in a logical and progressive fashion. Start at the beginning, work your way through to the end. Don't discuss any results without showing the data, and don't present any data without discussing it. Be detailed as much as possible. Nothing is hurt by doing that. Discuss all that you have found and keep an eye on your research questions, okay, to make sure that you're on the right track and that you don't deviate into any areas of research that you never intended. The final chapter, chapter 5, sets out your summary, your conclusions, and your recommendations. This is a section that essentially asks the questions, so what happened here and what happens now? This is a section that the majority of people are going to read in depth when they scan through your paper. Here you will summarize your main findings, give any policy recommendations that your study may have for the global community, for your country, your school, your workplace, and you will provide recommendations to any policymakers on what can be done to improve the current landscape based on your research, and provide any recommendations for future research on any areas where your own research may have fallen short. Now, I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole on these two. Your list of references and your appendices, if you have any, come after the final chapter. Appendices are, of course, anything that you may wish to list that you've considered too large to include in the main text of the paper. This may include a questionnaire, if you have one, feedback from respondents, any data, calculations, maps, and so on and so forth, that sort of thing. The free template, again, shows you how to lay these out and how to present them. References, though, are pretty important. Again, the template provides you with all the formats that you need. I will say this, though, be detailed. Don't leave things out. I frequently have to go reference hunting where people quote something in text but they fail to cite the source in their references. Be detailed. List everything. How to format them, be it a book, a journal, a website, an ebook, a past paper. All of that is in the template, so download that. Okay, so that about wraps this up. Like I said, I was more interested in terms of this video in giving you what lecturers and supervisors want, what they are looking for, and how to structure the paper. I've not gone into how to format it. That will be on the template itself. If you need assistance during the writing of your paper, or polishing up the final product to bring it up to publishable standards, then give me a shout and we can go through that. So if you found this useful, drop me a like, drop me a comment if there's anything else you want to know about. And if you haven't yet done so, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, keep up to date with all my tips, tricks, and tutorials. And until then, cheers.